Roddy Piper passed away on this date. Welcome back to On This Date. Today's date is July 31st, 2023. It is the 212th day of the year. You got 153 days left in 2023. It's the 31st Monday in the 31st week and the 41st day of summer. There are 54 days left until fall. Today is National Jelly Bean Day. National Jelly Bean Day is a U.S. holiday celebrated on July 31st. So this is a great day to go out and have some jelly beans, I guess. All right, let's see what else July 31st has given us. 1498, on his third voyage to the Western Hemisphere, Christopher Columbus becomes the first European to discover the island of Trinidad. You know, for some reason, there's this strange thing where people think that Trinidad and Jamaica are the same place or that they're right next to each other. They're nowhere near each other. Jamaica is in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, just off of Cuba and Haiti, where Trinidad is technically in the Caribbean Sea, but it's really kind of in the Atlantic Ocean, right off Venezuela's shoreline. 1790, the first U.S. patent is issued to inventor Samuel Hopkins for the potash process. 1948, in Idlewild Field in New York International Airport, later would be renamed John F. Kennedy International Airport, is dedicated. 1964, the Ranger program. Ranger 7 sends back the first close-up photograph of the moon with images 1,000 times clearer than anything ever seen from Earthbound telescopes. 1970, a Delta Airline jetliner flight DL-723 crashes while landing in fog at Logan International Airport in Boston, killing 89 people. 1991, the United States and Soviet Union both signed the START I Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, the first to reduce, with verification, both countries' stockpile of nuclear weapons. 2006, Fidel Castro hands over power to his brother Raul. Fidel Castro was 79 at the time and had led Cuba since the 1959 revolution. Raul Castro was 75, and he was also the vice president of the country at the time, and as such, he was the designated successor to his brother. Castro's secretary read a letter that he said was from the president, in which he said the stress had forced him into the surgery and that he would be in bed for several weeks after the operation was complete. Castro turned 80 that August. Now, to have him even turn over the power for a little bit of time is very rare for a dictator, but a little bit different since it's his brother, I guess. Raul Castro assumed control over the armed forces and the leadership of the Communist Party in Cuba. Earlier that week, Fidel Castro had joked that he had no plans to still hold power when he turns 100. Fidel Castro eventually stepped down on 19 April 2011. Raul took over then. Fidel eventually died at the age of 90 on the 25th of November 2016. Raul had held on to power till he retired in 2021. Raul is still alive at age 92 in Cuba. 2012, Michael Phelps breaks the record set in 1964 for the most medals won in an Olympics. Movies released on July 31st, 1987, Lost Boys. This was a pretty good movie. I watched it many years ago when I was in the Army. I was at Fort Ord at the time in Monterey, and they filmed most of it right up the road in Santa Cruz. So it was a pretty good movie. Me and all my friends went and saw it because it was filmed so close. It was a good movie. It's about two brothers that discover that their new town is full of vampires. The movie references Peter Pan's Lost Boys, who never grow old, which was very similar to how the vampires were. They were never growing old. The film was completed in just 3 weeks. Had a lot of big names in that. Corey Haim, which he passed away in 2010, and the other Corey Feldman, who's still going at 52. Kiefer Sutherland was in it, Jamie Gertz, Jason Patric, and Bernard Hughes. If you ever get a chance, if it's on HBO or Netflix, watch it. It's pretty good. Born on July 31st, 1958, Mark Cuban. He is a tycoon and Dallas Mavericks owner who sold Broadcast.com to Yahoo for $5.9 billion in 1999. It was I don't know why. Yahoo was just, everyone was scooping up all these different .com businesses at the time. Yahoo, Microsoft, Apple, everyone was trying to grab every single app or whatever. Well, they got this one up and $5.9 billion. If they would have invested $100 million into doing it themselves, they could have had it for quite a discount. Probably would have been put together for less than $100 million. They acquired it in 1999, and by 2002, they had shut down most of Broadcast's services, and since then, it's been completely discontinued. Yahoo's high-profile purchase of Broadcast.com has since been called one of the worst internet acquisitions. It was radio on the internet. Mark Cuban first picked up a signal from KLIF AM radio in his bedroom in college and streamed it to the internet. Eventually, the company was just broadcasting sporting events. Now, Mark Cuban is on the Shark Tank. He's a pretty interesting dude. I read his book. It was interesting. At least I read one. I don't know if he's written other books, but probably about 10 years ago, I read one of his books. Died on July 31st, 2015, we lost Roddy Piper. He was born Roderick George Toombs in 1954, and he's better known as Rowdy Roddy Piper. He was a Canadian professional wrestler and amateur wrestler and actor. Even though he was from Canada, they said he was actually from Glasgow, Scotland, because he was used to wear a kilt and all that stuff, so they played that up. But for a long time in the 80s and 90s, he was one of the most recognizable stars, the WWF and WCW and all those things, that he was one of their biggest stars next to Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, people like that. On July 24th, 2015, Piper appeared as a guest on The Rich Eisen Show. He had trouble collecting his thoughts and staying focused. Often he was rambling, not answering Eisen's questions. 6 days later, on July 30th, Piper went to sleep at night at age 61 and died sometime in the early morning of July 31st, 2015. At his summer residence in Hollywood, California. His death certificate cited cardiopulmonary arrest caused by hypertension, listing a pulmonary embolism as a contributing factor. His ashes were interred at Crescent Grove Cemetery, right down the road from me, in Tigard, Oregon. I'd always heard he lived in the area or had a farm in the area. I'd thought he had died here in Oregon, but I guess he was at the summer home when he passed away. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.